So, remember when Harry Potter went shopping for his first wand? That moment where he tried so many different incorrect wands that things came crashing down in the store. Well, as the wand chose the wizard, when he found the perfect one, when everything was at peace again, I had quite the similar experience finding the perfect calligraphy pen. So calligraphy is decorative handwriting. But in my opinion, it's something we don't get enough of these days. And I recently became interested in it after studying design in college. I took a class on bookmaking that required me to go visit the rare book library, and I saw tons of amazing calligraphy in rare books and eliminated manuscripts. So when I found my dad's old calligraphy pen, I was excited. When I received this pen, I took it apart, I examined all the little pieces, I had a short stint as a mad scientist as I put ink into the barrel, because you could do that with old pens. And after a test run, after putting it back together, I figured out that this was the most amazing pen in the world for me. It was magical, just like Harry Potter. I began creating letter forms with the perfect balance of thin and thick strokes. So for a graphic designer, this was perfect. I wrote out the alphabet, quotes, phrases, curse words. Looked beautiful. I sent messages to a few of my friends, notifying them about how glorious this pen was. Basically, I had won the lottery in terms of art supplies. So, also growing up, I've always been interested in snail mail and mail art. From a young age, I would write letters to pen pals, near and far. And even today, I continue writing letters and sending mail art back and forth with another. So it was only natural when I combined both of my interests of calligraphy and snail mail together to create a modern day version of snail mail. And that's exactly what I did. So for 7 days, I sent calligraphy text messages. And I had to create some rules for myself. They were simple. Create handwritten text messages for 7 days. But really, that just meant don't use the keyboard on your cell phone. So I would take my pen and paper, and when I had time, I would reply with a message, snap a photo, and hit send. I wrote out a lot of messages that week on paper. Didn't use that keyboard. I didn't reveal my plans to text back calligraphy message unless I was asked, and I continued conversation as normal. So during that week, I received many interesting responses. Some people had their minds blown. Some people thought it was cool enough to share to social media. Some people took those elements of social media and used hashtags in their responses. Some people continued texting as normal. And some people even responded with their own handwriting. So this was my week of text messaging. Well, the average 18 to 24-year-old sends roughly 2,022 messages per month, which is 505 a week. I maybe sent about 100. There they all are. So after this experiment ended, I noticed I learned a lot about calligraphy, but this week really ended up being an experiment in digital detox. So not only did I learn a lot about calligraphy, I learned a lot about myself, others, and my generation. So I compiled a list of things. 1, a phone isn't only a texting device. Phones these days range from anything from cameras to alarm clocks to you name it. There's an app for that. So when we use it for communication, we don't realize that we actually text more than we talk. And we forget their primary purpose, phone calls. And number 2, People don't expect to receive phone calls these days. It's amazing how you'll be texting back and forth in a timely fashion, and once you respond with a phone call, they'll disappear. They'll ghost. That's a new term as well. But so with their lack of response, that also may have induced a few disappointed selfies on my end, because they'll check their text messages versus their voicemail. Number 3, we are a culture that heavily relies on emojis. While emojis and emoticons could really up your texting game in terms of creative language, handwritten calligraphy messages don't quite do that. But on the bright side, your personality does shine through your handwriting. All text messages look the same. So the way you flourish it with your actual personality, it could shine through. I even had a friend text me, "It's like you're almost here with us." 5, having a pen and paper with you is actually really handy. Okay, I know it's handy for jotting things down, but also I didn't expect something like this to slow myself down a little bit and transform my process. 6, my lack of response really just meant I didn't have a pen and piece of paper around. Rather than spending time looking at this little zombie box that I call my cell phone, it was nice to, live life without that added distraction of your cell phone. Most of these conversations I had with friends weren't life or death situations, so it was really refreshing and really nice to be present in any interaction that I had. 7, my sent messages, they were more thoughtful in the I use more complete thoughts kind of way. Well, I've been guilty of sending text messages from my stream of consciousness in the past. Calligraphy texting really allows you to clear your mind and gather your thoughts and send to the point messages. Additionally, all keys on a keyboard feel the same, so it's really difficult to replicate that actual feeling of tracing a letter's form on a page. There is really a mind and hand connection that lets your words just flow a lot easier. 8, I wonder if a lack of response altogether from my friends really just meant they didn't remember their cursive. 9, impeccable grammar and flawless spelling is essential for a handwritten note. I quickly found that texting resembles spoken language. And with spoken language or informal conversation, we don't tend to think about our grammar because we're keeping up with the pace of our conversations. So a typical message took me about a couple minutes to write out and respond. So I ended up slowing down the conversations considerably. I still ended up writing much like the way I talk, but I paid attention to grammar and spelling. And mostly I think this was because acronyms and the common misspellings we use in text language look completely ridiculous written out. 10, writing a message and driving is more dangerous than texting and driving. That's an educated guess. I wouldn't want to try it. 11, people feel more special when they received a handwritten message. You know that great feeling of receiving a random letter in the mail? Doesn't happen too often, but when you get it, you're just so happy. It can be replicated. You guys should try this. If you're texting in the audience, write it down. But really, there's no way to replicate and do this. But it's really great, when your friends write you a letter, you're sending your words on a blank page, filling them up for a person. There's nothing more genuine than that. And number 12. So some of my friends didn't respond to any of my messages, and some did. And some didn't even ask me why I was doing this. And I took that as, this is something I do on a normal day-to-day basis. Creativity. So after I finished my week of calligraphy messages, I went back to normal texting on the keyboard. That's not to say that I've given it up completely. When a friend has a special event or something exciting is happening in their life, I like to send a calligraphy message, to be there for them, extend a little bit of myself, or to continue sending creative messages, like with my friend here with a typewriter. So after this week ended, I have a new outlook on my relationships with friends and with technology, and my relationships with friends and technology. While technology does bring us together, we tend to base these relationships and the strength of these relationships by the number of friends, followers, tweets, likes. And what we tend to forget is technology and the immediacy of it is really simple. Real relationships take time. While it takes little or no effort to hit like or to hit send a quick text message, real relationships, they do take time. So overall, this project was a great reminder to be more human in this digital age, to be more present in the relationships that you have and the ones you want to pursue with others. So now I have a greater sense of appreciation for the random person passing that glances and gives you a smile or even says hello, because you know his counterpart is probably avoiding all human contact altogether by looking at his cell phone. But even more so now, I have a greater sense of appreciation for the friend that does call, has a video chat, sends a letter, or crafts a handwritten message. So with all this said, I challenge you guys to be more present in your life outside of technology, be present in your relationships. Maybe send a letter, call a friend, maybe send some handwritten snail mail.